Hello and welcome to the video. So this is the video on the warrior diet. Hopefully that wind isn't very loud. It's a very windy day and hopefully you can hear me because I don't want to have to record this again. I don't ever re-record my videos. You know, what I present is what you get. So anyhow, so the warrior diet. So remember I did a 7-day experiment. Today is Sunday, January 22nd, and I'm also still continuing doing that, but I'll go into that at another time. So I completed the 7 days. It's been a crazy experiment and experience. I have my whiteboard here with me that I wrote down some different notes that I want to touch on, and it may not be everything, but I started taking a diary in the beginning couple days, but just stopped doing it. Anyhow, so first I'm going to address weight loss. So in the beginning, as I told you, and I think in that first update video, I lost like 2.5 pounds like really quickly. And then the next following days, I just went down incrementally or up incrementally. And then there was a couple days, I think, where I just sustained the same weight. Now, I think I'll create a PDF if I have time, or maybe put it in the video of the different increments between the days. Maybe not. So, you know, in regards to weight loss, I don't think this is superior to the 8-hour feeding window, 16-hour fast. I think it indirectly could help someone with their weight loss journey, being that you're not able to eat for most of the day or whatever until, you know, the evening, and then you have those 4 hours. What are you going to really, you know, overeat on in 4 hours? And as well, I found, which is another point, that it's much easier to track macros or calories when you're doing this, because you're doing it all at once, you know. It's not like it's spread out over the day. There's, you know, you're not doing 3 separate meals, you know, spread out. It's like kind of back to back, you know. So cleanup, calorie counting is quick, easy, that sort of thing. Especially if you're cutting and your calories are low, I could imagine, I'm not cutting, but I could imagine that this would be a really easy way to go about that. What I found, let's speak about cravings for a bit, or hunger levels, is for myself, I didn't really get cravings at all, but there was hunger. But as I said in one of the update videos, I think it was more so I'm used to eating now type hunger, because I noticed in the beginning portion of the day, like up until like, you know, 2 or 3, which is, you know, usually when I break my fast, I wasn't hungry, but then like real hunger started to set in between those last couple hours. Which reminds me of one other thing I want to talk about. And so I found that those hunger cravings came in 2-hour intervals. Like, it's like every 2 hours I would want something to kind of, you know, satisfy that little false hunger sort of thing, I guess you could say. And that happened, and you know what I would have is like black coffee. You know, I had pre-workout, and sometimes I would have gum, but I tried to avoid gum. You know, I tried to avoid having something that would just interrupt. Damn, the wind is blowing hard. I would try to avoid something that would interrupt my day, because I didn't want to start becoming reliant on having something in my mouth or having some substance, you know, in my body. So I tried to avoid that as best as I could. I found that what it did over towards the ending, the last couple days, is it lowered my desire for food pretty much. Even when I was able to eat, I wasn't like, yay, I'm gonna eat, or anything like that, you know. And sometimes after I had that initial meal after breaking my fast, I found that getting the extra, you know, meals in was a task. It was a chore, you know. Even though the food was really good. Speaking of the food being really good, I found that my taste sensations were heightened. I found that all my sensations really were heightened. The feelings of things against my body, my hearing, you know, hearing the AC come on, hearing the fan, like just different noises that I don't maybe typically pick up on sometimes. I was able to really like hear and connect with. So easy cook and clean up. I think I kind of briefly went over that. Because you're kind of cooking your, because you're cooking all at once, you clean up all at once. So it's like, you know, it's not like you have to wash dishes this time sort of thing. Depending on, maybe you pile up your dishes, I don't know. One of the things I found is it was really interesting that like I became more productive, besides energy and stuff, which I'll address in a minute. I became more productive because it almost became this cycle of, here I'm working, and there's this this mental reward in the future at the end of the day for like a hard day's work, you know, a well done sort of pat on the back type thing. It's what it kind of felt like. It wasn't the thought process I went through, but I found that like in the middle days, like maybe on the third, fourth, you know, fifth days, that sort of thing, that's how it felt. And maybe that was a bit of cognitive dissonance. Maybe it was like me convincing myself that, oh, you know, I'm not, you know, I'm gonna work harder, I'm not hungry, or I'm not really sure, to allow me to view this process as being a reward. I don't know, maybe it was. Okay, so Friday, so this is Sunday through Saturday. Friday, I found I was having mental exhaustion. Friday was probably the toughest day in way of operating. The days prior, I was just very steadfast and very like calm. One of the ways I remember in one of the update videos, I was like, how do I describe this? The way that I can describe it is, I was very like equanimous. I wasn't high, I wasn't low, I was right here. My energies was smooth. You know, like if you're getting ready to work out or something, you know, some people have carb before they're getting ready to work out, or pre-workout or something like that, to get that spike and that boost, and sometimes you're just like, you're like stimulant, like you're high. I found that for me, this whole fasting, like for, you know, large number of hours right before my eating window at the end of the day, it kept my energies very streamlined. Like I felt quick, you know? Like if something were to happen, I would be able to quickly respond. And so that's how I think I could explain it. I don't really know if that makes sense, or if you're able to understand what I mean by that. Mental clarity, I think I briefly covered that. I just really mentally clear for the most part. As I said, on that Friday, you know, I experienced some mental exhaustion. Saturday was effortless. Like it was probably the most smooth sailing day of all. And I, even when it came to eating, I was like, I gotta eat now. I gotta go cook something, and you know, that sort of thing. One of the things I noticed was slower breathing. Just like a slower breathing pace, like, and I noticed my breathing more. Yeah. All right, so those are the things that I have here on that sheet. Let me see, what else, what other things did I want to cover? The cold extremities that I mentioned in one of the update videos, that went away after that, the first day of experiencing that. It has to do with like blood flow, and I hadn't experienced it since. I was cold, but my extremities weren't just the only thing cold. I found that like I had to turn my AC up to like 80 when usually I keep it at 77. So I guess the benefit of that is you get to save a little bit of energy. But if you're in a colder climate, maybe you have to turn the heat on more. That's not so much saving energy, but let's see what else. Physique-wise, I didn't notice that much of a drastic difference in look-wise. Oh, one of the things I noticed that was really interesting from me trying the warrior diet now versus when I was doing high carb, low fat vegan, not high fat, high carb, low fat vegan, is I used to get really bloaty and feel really drained after my eating when I did it then. But this time, I was not bloaty. My stomach was actually super flat. I think I took a photo for you guys, and if I did, I'll post it like now. And I wasn't bloaty, and even after my fasting window, or feeding window, I did not feel drained, like I needed to just take a nap right away. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that a lot. I didn't have any issues with digestion either, whereas when I was doing the high carb, low fat vegan, when I was trying the warrior diet, I had digestion issues. Acid reflux, various different things, constipation, that sort of stuff. So I think I touched all bases. Oh, working out. Okay, so that's what I wanted to talk about. So the first day, I had totally forgot that, like, oh, I should probably, like, you know, not work out in the morning, and so I did, and so it was really like a bit of a struggle to kind of get through. But then the days following, I cut my workout from typically like an hour to 30 minutes, and I did it right before I broke my fast. One thing I would love to like experiment with at another time is maybe consuming something, you know, small, then working out, and then like completely breaking my fast. Just an idea. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked the video, go ahead and leave it a thumbs up. Leave comments down below if you'd like to. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you have any questions, maybe you've tried this, your experience is different from mine, please feel free to share your experience down below, and I will see you in the next video.